So right here in the fire pit, we got a broody duck sitting on a bunch of eggs. So we ended up putting a wire cage around the fire pit to help protect her while she sits on her eggs. And I think she's been sitting there for about 10 days now. And by the end of April, we should have some baby ducks. And apparently the rest of the ducks are letting me know that they need some food. So our ducks are 100% free range. They're not caged in, I guess, except for the one that's on the nest right now, but she can get in and out. And so they eat and they forage themselves, but we do supplement them with a little bit of grain, a little bit of corn, and they get really loud when they run out. Well, the one inside of here noticed that I got food, and she's getting off the nest. See? She's hungry too. Come on. See, she can get out. Hey guys, I'm Evan. Welcome to Country View Acres. So today we got a bunch of little jobs, a bunch of odd jobs to do. This is going to be like a catch-up day and see if we can kind of tidy up some of chores that need to be done. So it's just going to be a bunch of odd stuff that we need to get done. So the first thing I noticed while I was out here is you can hear the aerator pump going, and I've got this aerator that is actually right here next to the shore, and this was to keep the pond from freezing in this area so the ducks had somewhere to swim this winter. And of course, it never really froze very hard this winter. And now it's time to move that aerator back out in the middle of the pond into some deeper water. So we got these floating duck decoys attached to our aerators so that we can pull them up and move them or work on them. And these aerators get pretty mucky. You might be able to see them bubbling though. The air coming out of them. See if we get this to deeper water. There we go. Starting to pull on the hose. Oh, starting to turn the boat. Say we're about the right place for it. Well, there we go. Looks pretty good. Like I said, that stuff gets pretty algae covered, kind of grimy. So here lately I've had several people ask about the pond and they want to know how the fish are doing. And if you're not familiar, last year we installed that aerator system and we had a bunch of trouble when we were starting it up, and we didn't start it up properly, and it ended up killing most of the fish here in our pond. We had thousands of dead fish last year. Huge mistake. And afterwards we did check and we had little baby fish, like little bitty fry fish, I guess is what you call them. And I haven't checked since then. So I've got out the minnow trap. I've got a couple pieces of bread broken up in there. We're gonna throw it out here, let it sit for a little bit and see what kind of fish we catch and see how big they are in the trap. So last year they were probably only, I'm gonna say 1.5 inches, 2 inches long is all they were. So we'll see what we get today. So in the meantime, we're gonna head up to the workshop. I've got a couple of things we need to do in there, and then we'll head out to the barn and check the animals. So in here, we just framed this up last weekend, and this drywall in here, since then I've covered up all the screw holes and kind of covered the cracks up. And what I've done is, this is just caulking. I just put some caulking in here to help kind of hide all of the cracks and everything. And so far I think it actually doesn't look too bad, but I still got the very top to do. So let me get that sealed, and then later today I can put the final paint on here. So it'll probably take me about 20 minutes to go ahead and caulk the corners along the top. And then I've got this little tool here that you put in the corner and that you wipe it off with and makes it look nice and neat. And then probably about an hour or so later, we can paint this room. So let me see if I can get this done real quick so we can move on to the livestock barn. So remember, I'm not going for perfect here. I'm just going for less noticeable. And I think this will cover up the cracks and everything just fine. So now I'm going to take this tool and wipe the corner, and this will make it look nice and neat. All right, I got that done, so let's go ahead and move on to the livestock barn. So Finny here should be having babies any day now. She's due on Easter, so any day now she should be having babies. So the barn floor is dry right now. It's been about 3 days since we got any rain. But what I want to do is I actually want to try to inspect this drain a little bit more. So the floor drain is like a 3-inch, like the orange clay pipe. And I'm afraid that that is cracked. And I'm also afraid that maybe, because it heads right toward the back wall of the barn, I'm afraid it's actually been cut off and abandoned. I'm afraid the drain doesn't actually go anywhere and the water is just seeping underneath the floor of the barn. So I decided that I could probably get a GoPro in the drain. So I've rigged up this GoPro camera with my little bitty Olight flashlight. This is a flashlight that I carry on me every day. I got it zip tied on here so it can't come off. And then we'll stick this down the drain, see if we see anything. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna look in the opposite direction and see if we see anything. Okay, we'll get a camera shot of that direction. All right, I'm going to turn it around and look toward where it exits. Hopefully we can see something. All right, so we'll uncover this drain here, and then we'll see where it goes and see if it actually turns or if it stops. Hopefully I can see something. Well, it looks like it's plugged off, so go ahead and try to vacuum it out a little bit. All right, I did wash this out with some water, trying to get that pluggage out. We'll see what it looks like now. Hopefully we can see something. From looking at the footage, you can tell that the pipe is definitely completely plugged off. You can't really tell which direction the pipe goes, whether it turns and goes down, whether it turns and goes left or right. But I don't think there's any way that it can continue to go straight because I think it's going to run into the wall. All right, so it looks like the bottom of the pipe is about 26 inches to the bottom of this block here. We'll go compare that to what it looks like outside the building. So right here is our bottom block of the wall, and the bottom of that pipe should be where the bottom of that measuring tape is. So the bottom of that pipe should be like right here. And there's no way that that comes out the wall here. So it has to turn and go some way. So it would make sense for it to turn down and go that direction out toward the pasture, but who knows. So I've had several people suggest that I should buy a jet setter, and that is basically like a spray nozzle that's like a spinning spray nozzle. So it sprays sideways and it sprays forward, and you run it down a pipe to clean it out. And they make them for pressure washers. They also make them for garden hoses. And I'll probably purchase one of those to go on my pressure washer so that I can try to go down the drain pipe and try to clean it out. And a lot of people suggested I buy like an endoscope or a borescope. You can buy these little cameras that actually hook to like the USB of your phone, and you can hook them in there, and then they'll be like 20 feet long, and you can run them down the pipe to see what that looks like. So I may end up buying one of those as well, just to see where this drain actually goes. But at least I think I have a plan forward. I didn't want to purchase all that stuff if that pipe was broken or cut off, and it doesn't appear to be. It appears that it keeps going, it's just plugged. We'll go ahead and head back to the pond now, and we'll see what we caught in that minnow trap. Oh my. Lots of bread. Well, we didn't end up catching a single fish in the minnow trap. Still, all the bread is in there. Doesn't look good, but it may just be the water temperature. The water may still be so cold that all the fish are a lot deeper where it's warmer, and it may be a little bit cold still to catch them in this trap. But we may try to go find somewhere that's a little bit deeper, maybe off of the pond dam up there, and maybe see if we can find or catch some minnows there instead. So let me show you this real quick. We actually have two broody ducks. So we've got a duck right here sitting on the nest in just in the plain open area, and then the other duck is inside of the fire pit. So you can see this one right here sitting on the nest, where she's getting a little bit aggravated. She's hissing at me, but she's sitting on a nest of eggs too. So she started sitting on eggs just a couple days after the one back there in the fire pit. So they ought to hatch out about the same time. It's about 30 days for the eggs to hatch for duck eggs. So it ought to be right around the end of April. We may end up having quite a few baby ducks swimming around here. So I did end up buying fish to stock the pond with. I ended up buying them off of one of those, it's like a traveling fish truck. I don't know if you've ever seen one before, but they'll go to like a parking lot, and then they will count out your fish, and then you can take them home and put them into your pond. And they're just a truck full of water tanks full of fish. And that is going to be April 15th. So April 15th, of course the video will be a few days after that, but April 15th we're going to pick up just over 450 fish. And we're going to put them here in the pond to help restock it, since we had the kill off last year. So hopefully that'll help, and that'll be coming up here pretty soon. So I think it's been long enough now that I can probably go ahead and paint the walls in the solar room. So let's head back to the workshop. Well, I ended up getting 2 coats of paint on the room. It is definitely very echoey in here, that's for sure. Now, using the caulking on the walls, I won't say that I suggest people do that. That is just me trying to cheat, or trying to find the easy way, or an easier way to make it look a little bit better than just bare drywall. Now, I turn this light on, get some uplight, and you can definitely, you might not be able to see it, you can definitely see the shadows of the lines and where the screw heads still are. So it's not perfect, but it's definitely pretty good for a workshop. And the good thing is I can still see the screws. So if I want to mount something in a stud, it's going to be easy to locate for when I mount the equipment in here. But overall, I think I'm done in here, and I think it turned out pretty good. So now we can finally start mounting our solar equipment in here pretty soon. So now I'm heading back out to the pond dam, check that minnow trap, see if we found anything. Well, somehow I didn't get the camera recording, and we did not have any minnows in the minnow trap. No fish, no minnows, just the bread. So I do think that is cold water, you know. I think the fish are too deep to catch with the minnow trap, at least from the shoreline. So I'm still hoping they're in there. They were in there in the fall. So they should still be in there. And then we're adding more fish next weekend, and we'll restock it with some more fish. So I think the pond will come back in time, it'll just probably take a couple years before we're catching fish again. Well guys, I think that's everything I wanted to get done today. It is 5 in the evening and I still need to run to the store to get a few things because I'm going to start mounting solar panels on the barn roof tomorrow. Those did show up today. I unloaded them this morning. I need a few more things before I start the installation on the roof. But it's definitely feeling like spring out here. You can see the orchard behind me, hopefully. It is budded out. The plum trees have already flowered and the flowers have fell off, and now the peach trees are blooming. And then our apple trees have got leaves on them. The grass is really starting to grow. We've got grass in places that's at least probably 8 inches tall. And then a lot of the trees are just starting to bud out. Everything is greening up. It is definitely feeling like spring. And spring is our busiest time. There's so many little things to do with getting new animals and garden and there's just a ton of stuff to do in the spring. So I really want to try to get this solar stuff done and kind of get it behind me so that I can focus on all these small things that's going to come up over the next month. But I think that's going to be it for this video, guys. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.